What does it take to shape billion-dollar decisions? Meet Dr. John Jinkner, who has spent over 20 years in railroad business, driving billions in revenue. He has taught across the United States, China, and Central Asia, including Harvard Business School and Webster University. He is a doctor of business administration and a global expert in logistics, strategy, and international trade. This is not theory. This is experience.
So today our guest is an invited instructor at Harvard, a person who has spent multiple decades in careers such as insurance and finance, logistics and supply chain management, and higher education. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Jinkner.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. I look forward to our discussion.
Thank you very much to participate in our video. Today we will talk about how an 18-year-old college freshman can get an advice from a person who has spent multiple decades in 3 different careers. So we will start our questions right now. Okay, the first question. You have taught at Harvard, served in the military, and worked in multi-billion markets, right? What is one brutal truth about success that college freshmen don't want to hear?
Well, in those particular circumstances, I would say living a high-speed life. You know, most people want to play on their phone or watch TV or be somewhere safe. When I was in the military, it was very high speed, jumping out of airplanes. As a matter of fact, I trained to come out of the back of a plane in an airport in the middle of the desert on a dirt bike and ride as hard and as fast as I could across the desert in the middle of the night. So that's kind of what started my career, was the military experience. And so I highly recommend the military experience for young men. Just a couple of years, if nothing else, and really embrace it. Really embrace it. When the sergeant during basic training would stand there and yell at us, I would look right at him and think, wow, he really cares. Most people would not have had that attitude. Most people would have said, how dare you yell at me? Well, that's their job, and they do it for a good, healthy reason. And so if we realize that the things that we go through in life are actually to help us, and we embrace them instead of pushing back, you can really get a long way. So my military experience kind of started to shape my energy level, if you will. From there, I had the incredibly good fortune of owning my own business. That's the insurance and finance that I did for about 15 to 20 years. And owning my own business, and the funny thing is, I didn't think about it at the time because I'm young. We often don't think about what we're going through. But when you run your own business, you have to make all the decisions. So you don't wait. You make a decision today, right or wrong, doesn't matter. You make that decision today, you have to. Well, years later when I joined the corporate world, I didn't know it, but I brought that attitude with me. So while most people in the Fortune 500 company I was a part of came to work, did what they were supposed to and left, they never owned their job. It never became part of their life. It was just a thing they had to go do during the day. As opposed to, no, this is my life. This is what I do. I enjoy it. If I don't enjoy it, I'll go do something else, right? Because I own my job. And so that for the feeling of confidence that the Army gave me, the feeling of ownership that owning my own business gave me, the rigor of working in the boardroom that my Fortune 500 company gave me, has shaped my life and has made me the person that I am now. Did I plan on it? No, of course not. As I mentioned before we started, I didn't have a mentor or somebody to guide me. I simply went as hard and as fast as I could, doing whatever came up. And those are the things that came up. And it built a lot of confidence. So my suggestion to an 18-year-old is run as hard and as fast as you can. You don't know where you're going, and that's okay.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. You need the experience under your belt to figure out what you like.
Wow, very informative and exciting answer, I would say, really. Okay, the second question. As you have been a teacher in many universities, in many parts of the world, right? In many countries. So what separates the top 10% of students at Harvard from the other 90% in the whole world? Is it intelligence, discipline, or something else?
So, you said, is it intelligence? Is it discipline? And I'm going to say yes, I do believe it is intelligence. I think that some people simply are smarter than others. And we often call that nature. We also think of nurture, though. And nurture says, it doesn't really matter how smart you are. It matters how much you believe in yourself. Not even how much you believe in yourself. How much, but I'm going to say how much you believe in yourself, but I'm also going to say how much others believe in you. And so, at some of the schools I've taught at, the students don't really expect a whole lot out of life. I actually had one student in college that said he'll never be anything more than a taxi driver. And I said, but you're in a 4-year college. He says, yeah, my parents are making me. Well, why do you believe you'll only be a taxi driver? It's because of my last name. And that's the class of people that I will be in, and I will never be anything more than that. Well, if he believes that, he's probably right. Now, the Harvard students knew when they finished, they would have to go back to mommy and daddy's company or mommy and daddy's country and run it. They didn't have a choice. You better be ready. Don't let me down.
Yes.
That's not just believing that something may happen, that's knowing that there's an outcome and you have to do it. So, if we could just make ourselves believe in the outcome, we have to do it. We don't have a choice. We have to. If we can tell ourselves that, we get that same energy that those Harvard students got. So, is it nature? Some people are more intelligent than others? Sure. You can't deny that. But I've seen a lot of people that are real smart, that are really successful, because nothing got in their way.
I've heard this phrase many times from others, and I think that many people, they just overlook it, how important it is for someone to believe in themselves. Yes, that's very harsh truth that I think everyone should hear.
That's a good saying. That's very good.
And the next question, what is the biggest mistake ambitious students make when trying to win in their lives?
I love mistakes. I love them. I hope everybody fails. If you're watching this, I want you to go out and fail today. And the reason that I say that is because if you haven't failed, you haven't tried. If you haven't failed, then you've done exactly what you know how to do. And to me, that's kind of boring. Go out and do something you have never done before. And, and when you fail, write it down on your resume that you did it, because now you have some experience, and do it again. And keep doing it until you get better. It's silly to believe that we automatically know how to do everything without failure. That's kind of a silly notion. The better thing to say is keep doing things until you learn them. So Yeah, there's no failure points. No, the only failure is not trying.
Yeah, beautiful saying, by the way. And yes, maybe we also agree that people who win, people who lose are the people who didn't try.
Right. Well, losing is relative.
Mm-hmm.
If I never tried, I haven't really lost.
Yeah.
I am simply comfortable with that lifestyle. And that's okay. Not everybody has to succeed. And that is one of the things that we sometimes forget, is that only the top 1% of the people in the world are in the top 1%.
Mm-hmm.
50% of the world is in the bottom half. And that's okay. I suppose it would be great if everybody stretched and tried, even a little bit, and I'm sure many people do. But when we talk about somebody losing, that's kind of harsh to say that they've lost, because maybe inside they were very happy. You don't have to have money to be happy, although it helps a lot. You don't have to have fame to be happy, although for some people that's fun. You don't have to be good looking or popular. There's a lot of people that feel very accomplished doing what other people would consider as very, very little. Yeah. And that's okay, but hopefully the people watching this video are people who are hoping to stretch a little bit more. And it doesn't matter how much you stretch.
And now, it's going to be the last question.
Okay.
After teaching at top schools, what is the most accurate prediction of a person's success other than GPA?
Their interest level, their curiosity level. If a student is truly curious, and here's the thing about curiosity, because I was young once, I get it. I don't want to bother my professor. He's an important person. I don't want to bother the faculty, other faculty. I don't want to bother the staff. They're important people. And so what we end up doing is we end up not being curious because we think we're going to bother people. People want to be bothered. They love it when you come up just like you did and say, I'm really curious about this. I know you're busy, but I'd love a few minutes of your time. People, successful people especially, really want to share. They really want to share. I'm just telling you, they really want to share. But we're always told to respect our elders. We're always told not to bother people. We're always told to be quiet, be seen and not heard, those type of things. So the biggest predictor is that person that can't keep their mouth shut. They ask questions, they interrupt people, they bother people. They're just curious, because that curiosity will gain more knowledge and more confidence. And that will just naturally translate into some level of success.
Yes, got it. And the final question would be, I want you to answer this question with a single word.
Okay.
Yes or no?
Okay.
Is $400,000 Ivy League education worth it?
Yes.
So,
Having said that, I could qualify that by saying, if I'm willing to put in the work, right? Because it will be a lot of work. So if I'm willing to put in the work, but what you're really doing is you're really growing your personal network.
yes.
I need to be around the other kids of billionaires. I need to be around the other princes and princesses. I need to be around the sons and daughters of, high-powered people. Doesn't work for everybody. But, and again, remember we were talking about curiosity. A lot of people aren't comfortable in that area. A lot of people have a really hard time talking to somebody outside of their group. They put people at certain levels and say, well, I can't really talk at that. And so I think it's worth it for the rigor, of course, but I also think it's worth it for the relationships that you build.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Jinkner. It was a very useful podcast, and I hope that college freshmen will make 100% use of your advice.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed doing this.
Thank you very much.
All right.